Hi folks, Steven here. So hopefully by now you've had a chance to read this year's April Fool's Day article. In case you missed it, it is a joke news article about the Pokemon Tubia Master and Pokemon the First Movie Pop soundtrack albums being re-released on cassette and vinyl. Like I said, it's a joke. Although, back in the day, this was the late 90s, those two albums were released on cassette. But, I really do doubt that any Pokemon music has ever been released on vinyl, right? Well, as it turns out, there's actually about an hour or two of Pokemon music on vinyl. You see, even during the dead vinyl era, the most of the 90s and the early 2000s before the recent revival, dance music, urban music, that type of stuff was regularly pressed on vinyl and sent out to clubs and radio stations and stuff like that. And as a result, some of the songs from Pokemon's heyday are available on vinyl. And I figured that since, this upcoming Saturday, the 16th of April, is Record Store Day, I figured I'd just show you some of my collection. But before we do that, I want to give you a little background on my history with vinyl. I collect it as a novelty. My parents were early CD adopters, so it wasn't my main format growing up. And I do own a record player, but it's pretty low end, and I mostly use it to sort of digitize stuff to my computer when I want to do that. Now, if you're one of those folks who really does prefer to listen to music on vinyl, you think it sounds warmer or whatever, that's fine. I respect you for that. And I do find the format itself and what they have to do with it to make it work interesting. But it's definitely not my preferred way to listen. I listen to most of my stuff on digital recordings. But with that out of the way, let's start taking a look at my collection over here. So first off, we have the M2M Everything You Do collection. And there's a CD version of this that actually has a few more tracks. But this is a 2-record set. And it has 2 remixes of Don't Say You Love Me. Specifically, the Johnny Vicious Club mix and the Tin Tin Out mix are represented on sides B and C of this collection. So it's technically not a Pokemon product, but it does have some Pokemon music on it, and that makes it interesting to me. Speaking of M2M, I also have this. This is a 45 RPM record, a single. And I'm assuming it was intended to be used in jukeboxes that use records. And it's the Mirror Mirror single, which as its B-side has the acoustic version of Don't Say You Love Me. So that's what's on here, and that's sort of its relationship to Pokemon. Now something that's a little more related from the second movie is this. This is, of course, a bunch of remixes on 2 records of the Donna Summer The Power of One song. There's 2 of these on each side, so there's 8 remixes total. But I think the thing that gets me the most is it has, Atlantic Records and then the Warner Brothers logo on it. But it also has the Nintendo logo, the Pikachu logo, and the 4Kids logo on there. So that it's just really neat that there is an official Pokemon vinyl product like this. It's just kind of neat to me. So, next up we have... How did that get in there? Weird. So what I actually meant to show you were these 2 things here. One of them looks like this. See, it says Pokédance on the top. And the other one says pretty much the same thing. But you might think these are the same songs. They're not. So this first one here, the one that says Italian Remix, is a set of remixes of Vicky Sue Robinson's Pokemon song you might recognize from Tubia Master. This was released obviously in Italy. And it's got 4 tracks on it, a long and a short version of each song. So that's what's there. And you're probably wondering, well, gee, what's the other one? Well, you've probably never heard the song that's on this other record here. This is also called Pokédance, confusingly. But this is a dance music track produced by, I believe, Fred Rister, who I guess is a well-known French producer and composer or whatever. And, the song itself, I'll be honest, is not that interesting. It's kind of generic. It has some vocals, not as much as I would like. So I guess since I never grew up with this song, it's not really that interesting to me. But it is on vinyl, so it's relevant to this discussion. And, that's pretty much all there is. I'm not aware of any Japanese releases or anything like that. There's some unofficial stuff out there. But that's pretty much all the official Pokemon music that's on vinyl. And the question, going back to our April Fool's Day article, is could we see more? Could there be, another release? Well, I think the most likely thing, and, I'll talk about how likely later, might be the To Be a Master album. It's, already the rights seem to be relatively clear for it to be on digital, so it seems like if the Pokemon Company did want to, they could certainly get that on a vinyl release. It'd just be some logistical stuff they'd have to get through. Versus, the Pokemon First Movie soundtrack sold considerably better in America during its original run, and might sell better on vinyl, but it's got some tracks that still aren't available digitally on any service whatsoever. So, even though that might be more commercially viable as a product, it might be harder to get out there. Overall, I don't really expect us to see this. It's certainly possible. This would be the year to do it, being the 20th anniversary, but not super likely. But I am kind of interested. What are your thoughts? Any of these things I showed you that you want to know more about? Or things that, if they did come out on vinyl, you would pick up? Let us know. Give us a comment or drop us an email. We always appreciate that. All right, folks, thanks. Now that I think about it, maybe Pokemon should try this. Maybe fewer people would mispronounce the name of the brand if they stamped this on there. Could work.